Kane Walker has arrived. Back everybody to another episode of Lunkers and Bucks. Today we're out at Northwest River, Bob's Fishing Hole, and we're trying for bass. Got a late start today. I went out to Lake Drummond, middle of the Dismal Swamp, and they were closed. Really need to check my spots before I go. But Bob's is always open, Northwest River's always open. Talked to the guy at the shack, and he said it's been a little funky. Plenty of bass, not a lot of big ones, but I'm going to challenge that today. I'm going to use top water mostly. I brought a torpedo, I brought a popper, and as my friend had requested, a Cinco. So we're going to hit this river, see what we're going to do. As you can see, there's lots of structure here, dark water, kind of a black water is what they call it, and it's mostly fresh water, a little brackish as you get further down. But there's bass, there's striper. I wouldn't mind catching a bowfin, a little bit of everything out here. But let's get on it. So Bob's is located at 4243 Battlefield Boulevard in Chesapeake, Virginia, on the border of the Carolina and Virginia line. It's a great location. They have a bridge, they got a train trestle, small piers and banks that you can fish from. You can even rent some john boats if you don't have one. There's a boat ramp for larger boats and a really good bait shack. They've got live bait and just about every lure known to man, and the guy in the shack is always there. I've never seen anyone else working it, and he's more than willing to give up some free tips on what you're fishing for, what they're catching, little tips on how to catch them as well. There is a porta-john as well, so there's a place to go to the bathroom. If you don't like going in the woods. It's mostly black water, dark. It's about 5 feet deep. There's some spots that will get as big as 20 feet, depending on where you're at on the river. Boat fees depend on the boat, and they do have a lot of fishing tournaments. They've got noodling tournaments, regular bass fishing tournaments. I think it's on Wednesdays. Check out their Facebook page. Really a great spot to do a little bit of fishing, or just to hang out, put your kayak in, head out. As you can see, I'm a big kayak guy, and it's usually pretty calm. A lot of snakes, so I'll keep your eyes on, but typically they don't bother you if you don't bother them. But yeah, Bob's Fishing Hole, if you've never been, it's a good spot to put on your list. What I'm starting out with today is my red and white torpedo lure. I like to throw it up against the edges, give it a few seconds to set, pop it a few times to make it kind of look like a hurt fish. That propeller makes a little bit of noise, some weight to it as well, and then I'll just reel it in, depending on how fast I'm going, nice and slow. But if I'm going for speed and going for edges, I'll reel it in fast, not worrying about what might hit it on the way. But it's one of my favorite lures. It always catches me fish. I always want to throw out there. You see stuff jumping all the time, and I'll cast out there. But I never catch anything out there. Yet everything's always jumping. And I wonder if that's where the massive big ones are. I bought a new lure the other day called the Kane Walker that I bought for the purpose of catching stripers on the Intracoastal waterway, but I'm going to give it a shot here today. See how that just walks back and forth? That rattle in it. It's basically a walking lure, top water. Got a big old rattle in it, big old water signature to make a lot of weight to it. I just want to see how that's going to work. I like the noise, but I've never used it. Never really used a walker, but I've heard great things, so I'm trying it out today. Wouldn't that be something if something just came up right there? Bam! It would be something. Lose my pole, but it'd be something. Let's get this back in there. Don't forget, when you have a chance, to check out our description box below for our Facebook page. You can join us there as well, and other related links. Got a lot of other videos to check out.
I'll always stop it right there. Sometimes bass are chasing it, and just by stopping, runs right into their mouth. Never know. You're gonna miss 100% of the shots you never take. And this particular torpedo, white and red, has a different feel than most normal ones. It sits straight up versus parallel to the water, which is what most of my Rapala torpedoes do. And I can't find this white and red one anywhere. And I've checked several websites, multiple stores, done searches, never find that color. If you can find this, buy 5 of them. That's what I catch most of my fish on. Most of my bass, stripers, you know, top water, salt in the salt water, still works for stripers. And I think the season just came in, so I might have to do some striper fishing here soon. I'm catch and release when it comes to freshwater bass, but striper has a whole different taste to it. And I really wouldn't mind getting into a bowfin right now. Outside it might just cut my line. This is a light braid. I've lost some lures to some bowfin. Powerful fish. Now in this part of the Northwest River, and I'm always afraid of getting lost because that's kind of something I do. Little island here in the middle of the river. Yep, and it's only 5 feet deep, and I have got to get into there. I have a net.
I'm not sure what the big issue about a net is, because I get so many comments either of why are you using a net or why aren't you using a net? You need to get a net. Not sure what the pet peeve is there, but I have a net. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. Just depends on how I'm feeling.
Not a bad little dab. He's a little skinny though.
I've done a little bit of scuba diving in my day, and one of the things I've noticed out there is there's a ton of fish everywhere, and most of the time they just aren't biting. It's just crazy. I'm sure there's thousands of bass all around me just not biting. Got to figure out what's going to make them go.
A little dab. Oh, that was a bowfin. Oh, crap. I'm on ultralight line. So I've got to be careful how I'm doing this, but that was a bowfin.
The difference between bowfin and bass is a bowfin's mouth is much stronger, stiffer, stouter, and they have very, very sharp teeth. I've had them break my jug lines that have over 30-pound monofilament on it. So when I'm using very thin line, that can be an issue. It's high at noon and things are slowing up a little bit, so I'm switching over to the cane walker with the idea that it's going to make a lot more noise, kind of irritate the bass that are there. And, again, a lot of times they'll just bite it, just shut the damn thing up. So I'm hoping that works here at 12 o'clock midday. The idea with a walker is that you lightly jerk it back and forth and it walks. It's like walking a dog. Goes one way, then the other, goes one way, then the other. And when you've got the rattle in there, it's rattling the whole damn time. So a lot of water displacement, a lot of noise, a lot of visual.
Ooh, that got something. Oh, yeah. Well, I guess my theory paid off. Got some bass irritated enough to bite it. Little dab on that size lure.
And that's just a pretty fish.
What makes this a little bit different than some of the spooks, it's got that popper lip right there that makes a little extra noise. I believe those are frog eggs or something. Always kind of spooky looking. I like how it slides when it hits. I'm gonna need a bigger net. How about that? You know, the only problem is these bass are freaking skinny. They're supposed to be feeding up here in the transition. Whew. Wow. He was barely in.
Well, it looks like the cane walker is a success. Want to thank you for watching Lunkers and Bucks. That's about it for the day. One of these days, I'm going to learn to take a better picture. But please like and subscribe. Look forward to seeing you next time. Lunkers and Bucks. Have a great one.